War captives in ancient Egypt, a topic often overshadowed by the grandeur of pyramids and pharaohs, hold untold stories of resilience and despair. These captives, caught in the whirlwind of conquest and power struggles, face destinies far removed from their homelands. Their journey from battlefield to bondage reveals a lesser-known side of ancient Egyptian history, marked by forced labor and survival in a world that was not their own. Welcome to Uncharted History. In today's video, we're going to look at the lives of these war captives and explore the terrifying punishments they endured. Sneferu's Conquests and Captives. Pharaoh Sneferu, ruling from around 2613 to 2589 BC, was a visionary leader with an ambition that reshaped ancient Egypt. His reign marked a turning point in Egyptian architecture, most notably with the construction of the first true smooth-sided pyramids. But behind these monumental achievements lay a story not often told, a tale of thousands of captives from his military campaigns in Nubia and Libya. Sneferu's thirst for expansion and grandeur led him into numerous military endeavors, where victory brought not just glory, but also a significant number of captives. Historical records suggest a staggering figure of 7,000 captives from Nubia alone. Additionally, his campaigns into Libya yielded 11,000 more. These were not mere numbers, they were people, uprooted from their homes and thrust into a foreign world. Each captive had a story, a life left behind, and a frightening future in the service of the pharaoh. The role of these captives was pivotal in Sneferu's architectural revolution. It's widely believed that they formed a significant part of the workforce that built the red, bent, and medium pyramids. The construction of these structures was a massive undertaking, requiring not just advanced engineering and resources, but also a vast labor force. The captives, forced into servitude, worked under harsh conditions: the scorching heat of the Egyptian sun, the back-breaking labor, and the strict supervision made every day a struggle for survival. The construction sites of these pyramids were a blend of chaos and meticulous planning. The sound of chisels and hammers echoed as stones were carved and transported. Overseers kept a strict vigil, ensuring the work continued at a relentless pace. For the captives, life revolved around these tasks. There was little rest, and the shadow of the pyramids loomed large over their existence. The contributions of these unnamed individuals to Egypt's architectural legacy are immeasurable. Yet their stories, filled with hardship and endurance, often remain in the background. Their sweat and tears are as much a part of these ancient wonders as the stones and mortar that hold them together. The Nubian Campaigns. The Nubian Campaigns, led by King Jer in the early days of the First Dynasty, around 3050 BC, present another disturbing chapter in the history of ancient Egypt's war captives. These campaigns, waged against Nubia, located to the south of Egypt, were among the earliest conflicts documented in the unified Egyptian era. They were more than mere territorial disputes. They symbolized the rising power and ambition of a civilization finding its foothold in the ancient world. King Jer's military ventures into Nubia were not just about conquest, but also about showcasing Egyptian might. The scale of these operations was substantial, as indicated by historical inscriptions, such as the one found on a sandstone slab at Jabal Sheikh Suleiman. These inscriptions provide glimpses into the intensity of these campaigns, where entire communities were uprooted and a huge number of Nubians were taken captive. The fate of these Nubian captives is a narrative of hardship under the Egyptian rulers. These captives were likely subjected to various forms of punishment and servitude. The physical punishments could range from harsh beatings to tiring forced labor. Many of these captives would have been integrated into the massive workforce required for the state's ambitious construction projects or agricultural labor in the fertile Nile Valley. Aside from the physical toll, the psychological and cultural impact on these captives was profound. Uprooted from their homeland, stripped of their freedom and identity, they faced a life of uncertainty and alienation. Their roles were reduced to mere cogs in the expansive Egyptian state machinery, a far cry from their previous lives in the diverse and rich cultures of Nubia. The treatment of these captives also had a religious and spiritual dimension. Ancient Egyptian society was deeply intertwined with religious beliefs, and this worldview extended to their treatment of captives. These captives were used in ritualistic contexts or denied the religious rights they would have received in their native culture, further emphasizing their subjugation. In recounting the story of the Nubian Campaigns and their aftermath, it's crucial to recognize the human cost behind these historical events. The narratives of these captives, often lost in the grand tales of pharaohs and pyramids, are testimonies to the resilience and suffering of those who bore the burden of ancient Egypt's imperial ambitions. Types of punishments for war captives. The fate of war captives in ancient Egypt was not solely defined by forced labor and servitude. Their journey was also marked by a range of punishments and societal roles that shed light on the complex dynamics of ancient Egyptian society. Physical punishments for captives likely varied, but common practices of the time included beatings and floggings, which were not just means of discipline, but also tools of humiliation. Some captives, especially those who rebelled or were considered high-value targets, might have faced more severe punishments, such as mutilation or execution. These acts served as harsh reminders to other captives of their place in the societal hierarchy and the consequences of defiance. In addition to these, captives could be subjected to other forms of cruel treatment, such as being paraded in public to showcase the victor's dominance. A notable example is Cleopatra's brother, Ptolemy XIII, who after being dethroned was kept captive and later paraded in a humiliating manner. This public display was not just a personal humiliation, but also a political statement, highlighting the complete subjugation of the captive. Ptolemy XIII's fall from power to captivity is a tale of political intrigue and familial betrayal. As a captive, he endured not only the loss of his status, but also the harsh reality of being a pawn in the struggle for power in ancient Egypt. His experiences involved confinement under strict surveillance, limited freedom, and possibly physical restraint. The psychological impact of this dramatic shift in his life, from a ruler to a captive, was profound, marked by a constant reminder of his lost authority and dignity. Beyond the physical, the psychological and social impacts of captivity were profound. For many captives, being torn from their homeland meant a loss of identity and cultural roots. They were thrust into a world where their traditions, beliefs, and languages were often suppressed or ignored. This cultural assimilation was a form of psychological warfare, stripping away the captive's sense of self and reinforcing their subservient status. For some, this might have led to a complete loss of their cultural identity over generations, as they were absorbed into the fabric of Egyptian society. The roles of captives in ancient Egypt extended beyond mere laborers in fields or construction sites. Some were integrated into households as servants or skilled workers, depending on their abilities and the needs of their captors. Others might have been trained as soldiers, assimilated into the Egyptian military, to fight in the very campaigns that had once led to their capture. This integration, while offering a different kind of life from hard labor, was another form of control, binding the captives to their new roles and further distancing them from their past. This reveals a society that was complex and multifaceted, where the lines between captor and captive could blur, leading to a unique, if often harsh, coexistence. This complexity adds a layer of depth to our understanding of ancient Egypt, beyond the grandeur of its monuments and the might of its pharaohs. Comparative Analysis. The treatment of war captives was not a practice unique to Egypt. It was a common feature across many ancient societies, each with its nuances and customs. In comparison, civilizations like the Assyrians and the Romans were known for their brutal treatment of captives. The Assyrians, for instance, were infamous for their cruelty, often depicting scenes of torture and execution in their art as an illustration of their power. The Romans, on the other hand, famously used captives as gladiators, forcing them into combat for entertainment. In contrast, the Egyptian approach, while harsh, did not typically indulge in such public spectacles of violence. Instead, their focus was more on assimilation and utilization of captives for labor, a pragmatic approach that aimed to augment their workforce and integrate the captives into their society. This brings us to the modern perspective on such practices. Today, our understanding of war and the treatment of captives is vastly different. The evolution of international laws and human rights has dramatically altered how captives in conflicts are viewed and treated. Practices that were commonplace in ancient times are now considered violations of human rights. The Geneva Conventions and various international treaties and laws now govern the treatment of prisoners of war, ensuring their protection and humane treatment. Reflecting on these ancient practices through a contemporary lens offers valuable insights into the progress of human civilization. It highlights the shift from viewing captives as mere commodities or tools for state building to recognizing their inherent human rights and dignity. This evolution mirrors the broader development of societal values and ethical standards over millennia. As we conclude, one question lingers. What other hidden narratives lie beneath the celebrated achievements of ancient civilizations, waiting to be unearthed and understood? The pursuit of these untold stories continues to shape our understanding of the past, offering new perspectives on the complexities of human history.